この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
Welcome to SushiBites. Kamen Rider is beyond need for an introduction. This franchise sees its 50th anniversary next year and is so iconic in Japanese culture that it has inspired everything from Clover Studios' Beautiful Joe to the Mumen Rider character in the popular anime and manga One Punch Man. Even if you don't know what Kamen Rider is, you've probably seen it somewhere. This live-action series has seen an almost countless number of television incarnations and many other types of media, and I'm sure it's no surprise to anyone that there have also been plenty of video games. Bandai Namco owns the rights to Kamen Rider toys in Japan, and this extends to video game publishing rights, and have released almost 30 years worth of video games based on the property. On October 29th, 2020, Bandai Namco released the latest game based on this timeless and much revered franchise. Kamen Rider Memory of Heroes, on PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch in Japan, China, Korea, and sections of Asia that people apparently aren't allowed to acknowledge exist, like Hong Kong and Taiwan. You might remember in the past we've discussed Bandai Namco's excellent work in bringing Japanese games to English audiences through Southeast Asia, by releasing the English language versions and encouraging gamers in English-speaking territories to import these through websites such as Play Asia. Memory of Heroes was made available in the same vein, offered in an English language format in Southeast Asia, which I gleefully pre-ordered without a second thought. Memory of Heroes takes what could be described as a Souls-like approach to combat, with a lock-on system where the player strafes, rolls, and jumps to avoid enemy attacks, before following up with critically timed attacks of their own. These opportunist punches, stabs, and shots will chip away at an enemy's shield. After their shield is broken, the player can inflict damage upon the enemy by letting loose with high-powered special attacks. After a while, the enemy's shield will be replenished, and it must be depleted again before any more damage can be dealt. This forms the basic combat loop, and is immensely enjoyable and moderately challenging, without being too difficult, unlike the games it draws inspiration from. Between fights, the player navigates a large, open world that is cordoned off into linear, tight hallways. In these sections, they can use gadgets to navigate obstacles, collect hidden items, and unlock doors. The game resembles something akin to Final Fantasy XIII, where the progression itself is undeniably linear, but gives the illusion of freedom, with clever pacing, a choice of upgrade order, and alternative gameplay segments. In order to understand the game's story, good and deep knowledge of two particular incarnations of Kamen Rider Double and Kamen Rider O's is required. If you don't know who these characters are, or the shows that they are from, following what's going on will be a real struggle, even with the English text. I feel that, despite being in the dark about most of this game's actual plot myself, the gameplay loop kept me satisfied, even if the entire narrative flew over my head. However, for those who would benefit from a quick rundown of the plot, I shall do my best. Shotaro, a hard-boiled detective and one half of Kamen Rider Double, is sent to investigate a place named Sector City, a large, sprawling metropolis run by the evil Foundation X, and discover the whereabouts of a missing Professor Ida. Shortly into his investigation, he is knocked out by the game's main antagonist, Zeus Dopant. It is revealed that Zeus Dopant has been working on a top-secret project originally conceived by the missing Professor Ida, which could create invincible super soldiers. And this has allowed Zeus Dopant to revive various characters from Double and O's, enemies and allies alike. Someone else, however, has been pulling the strings from the shadows, and while it's a twist you might be able to see coming, I would hate to spoil one of the few twists that this game manages to have. The playable characters are mostly from that very specific era of Kamen Rider, what fans commonly refer to as Phase 2. Alongside Double and O's comes Kamen Rider Axel and Kamen Rider Birth, introduced in Double and O's respectively. The Rider's various forms are also present. And having just wrapped up this year, Kamen Rider 01 makes his playable debut here, alongside his various forms. Somewhat tacked onto this story with little relevance, but welcome nonetheless, with his awful puns and playful personality. All accounted for, the playable characters including their forms comes to 32, though some are restricted to particular modes or are unlocked very late into the game. Also, Double's trusty truck, the rotation interchange base Revolve Gary, makes an appearance in the game, and can be used in certain circumstances to transform Double's hard-boiled motorcycle into the flying weapon Hard Turbula for on-rail shooting segments. The player can also collect various can droids, miniature weapons used by Kamen Rider O's to assist in combat. Clocking in at less than 15 hours to complete, Kamen Rider Memory of Heroes may be seen as a short game, but I would call it breezy. The Platinum Trophy requires a little grinding, but it is reasonably easy to attain, making this title a fun diversion for trophy hunters. The game does not boast any PS4 Pro enhancements on the back of the box, but assuming you were able to get one and you're not vaping into it, you may see improved game performance on the PlayStation 5. Memory of Heroes is a solid recommendation to